For our next function, the Intrabar Mode, I have now switched to playback here, as we can only see this live. If you change the connection just to playback, you have to reconfigure something. You right-click on the strategy here, go to Edit, and then you will find Setup Account at the bottom. You have to switch to playback here. Only then can you start it again. I'll do that here once. As you can see, I'm here at 16:59 and we're going to run it right now. Let's configure the whole thing first. Let's go into the settings here. We would now like to configure here with this negative base, the same example as before. We would now like to configure something else, namely signal. We would like to say bearish. And we would like to say that we would like to have the POG still in the body. So this means that if both of these are closed and ready and the conditions are met, an order is placed below it. Tuba mode is off and signal position is low for 1 bar. But now I would like this POC to be traded here again first. Only then should the order be placed. This is where the Intrabar mode comes into play. Here we have up to 5 triggers, all of which must be fulfilled, so that the order is placed. For our POG, I now select bar, VPOC, offset can also be selected. I'll just set it now, if I look here. I'll set the offset to move the trigger from the selected level. Positive values move the trigger upwards, negative values move it downwards. So I set an offset of 2 here, i.e. 2 ticks above the POC should be used again before the order is placed here. Then I check briefly here below, once at engine, whether both are set here, i.e. to historical and real time. We now want to trade real time. And then also long and short here in the automation. We only want to trade short, so that's enough. And we want to enter the top market order. So now exists with OK and is now also configured. Now we press play here. Let it run for a short time. Now, yes, not quite so fast. So we first look when the close happens. What is then? Because we don't place the order immediately. So the bar closes and only when we see it here, above here, only then will we get our order. We will see that accordingly. I'll let this run a little faster. We can already see that this is coming up here. Is now also the daily POG. And only when we have hooked this up here once will we get our order placed here. So we see if we can catch exactly this point. And there we see it placed. And here he has now placed the order at this point. And that is this draft mode with which we can then just work. We can set nice triggers for this, both volume, POCs, and now let it run a little faster for a short time. Then you can also see the execution behind it. What happens then? Get the fill and then run install accordingly. Yes, that's what this design mode is for. What kind of settings do we have here? Intrabar mode is here. We don't have the VP here. We can also say we want to use the bar, open, high, low, or close. Means we want to shoot over it again here. Or also bar. We have delta VPOC as an option. Value area high and low. The bar, that needs to be discussed again. Extended VPOC, this is a function from the footprint indicator. With this we can, yes, proxy have not yet been traded, extend in the chart, and only if they are traded, then we get the whole thing. The same applies to the delta. We also have a volume setting that, e.g., at least 10 contracts had to be traded at a price level, or even much more, then total volume or a minimum bit volume, minimum ask volume, bit and ask volume must be separate from each other in the key volume, delta percent, or number of trades. All this can be evaluated here, and up to 5 different triggers can be set here, and our order is only placed if all of them are met. So this makes it particularly interesting for order flow scalping. as we can work here on an intra-bar basis. So feel free to try out this system, what you can do with it for your trading approach. See you again in another video. Until then.